Some of you will know me as a movement teacher. Some of you will know me as a massage therapist. Some of you will know me as a fifth dimension earth certified healer, the powerful energetic healer that I am. Some of you might recognize me as the master of divine play and all things fun. And some of you might not know me at all. But if you took a moment, I reckon all of you would be able to recognize the truth in these words, that I am here to help you to welcome change. And some of you might think, why would I want to welcome change? I like my life. And some of you will be thinking, I definitely don't want to welcome change. Better the devil I know. I like the life I've got. But that might not be wholly true. So I'm just going to invite you to come along a little pathway with me down to your physical body, to your physical container and all the physical cells that it contains. Because this is my playground. This is where I can potentially explain to you what I mean. So the truth is, your body is communicating to you in every moment of every minute of every day. It is constantly spotlighting to you and highlighting to you where it might be out of balance and where change is wanted at a cellular level, because that is, after all, where the balance does or does not exist. So just consider for a moment that niggly lower back that doesn't seem to go away, however much Pilates you do. Consider for a moment that feeling of fatigue, even when you open your eyes after 9 hours of sleep. Consider that low-level rumbling of anxiety when you're going somewhere that you don't really want to go, or that silent and secret countdown that's going on in the back of your head, ticking away until you get to go and do what it is that you want to do. This is your body communicating a lack of balance to you. And when there is a lack of balance, it means that your body is working harder for you in those moments, working harder to do the jobs that it's doing. Now, the truth is, your body is designed to flow, to move, to change, all while maintaining balance. And this is a knowing that's wired into every single cell. And you might be thinking, well, I didn't know that. That's new information for me. You might not consciously know this in your mind, but I guarantee that your cells, at your cellular level, your cells know. They know what balance is, because it's a place at which they get to work in the best way, the most efficient way. Now, the truth is, your cells can continue to work and, in fact, continue to ensure your existence, like the muscle cells of your heart don't stop pumping, even when they're not in balance, okay? This is where your body is very different to a computer that, if its resources are depleted, it just turns off and resets or reboots. Your body has an almost infinite number of backup options. It doesn't just say, computer says no, and turn off. It doesn't just enforce a reset in the moment that it's not working in the best way. And you want to be thankful for this, because imagine you're now running away from a lion. You don't want a body that just goes, we're not quite doing this in the most efficient way, so we're just going to reset and reboot, because you know what? There won't be much living that happens once that lion catches up with you. So your body's very good at getting the job done. It might be able to kind of do a it'll do moment. It's not the best way it's working, but it gets the job done. And in this moment, you wouldn't be wrong to go, big up my body. Isn't it awesome? What an amazing way to design a system. And we go big up to the designer as well. The G-O-D-D, the G-Dog, you know, he designed something in a way that is so incredible to support the continuance of our living. But I'm here to highlight something, and that is that if you continue to work in a way that is not in the best way, in the focus upon just getting it done kind of way, you're in the danger of something that's called habitual pattern formation. So when we work in the let's just get it done kind of way, and we achieve what it is that we're wanting to do, each time we do that, we learn. We kind of go, well, I might not have done it the best way. It might not have felt great, but I got the job done. And you might do that once or twice, you might even do it 10 times. The problem only arises when you start to ignore how it feels to do the job in the moment. And instead you value simply getting the job done in any old way. Let's face it, we've all taught ourselves that when something doesn't feel good, we push through, right? We fight harder. We do what we need to do to get it done. We don't complain, because after all, the harder I have to work, the better I am, right? The more worthy I am, the more I deserve the win because I earned it, right? Wrong. It took me ages to learn this. But when you are pushing through and you are doing something in a way that does not feel good, you are depleting your resources. Fact. You are making your body work harder than it needs to. Fact. And you know what? That might be okay in the short term. It might even be beneficial if you consider the lion story from earlier. But if you continue to focus on simply getting the job done, you'll find that that job becomes harder to do. Why? Because you're not doing it in the most efficient way over the long term. So what happens? The job becomes harder to do. You push more, you force more. Now you only feel good when you're getting the job done. You don't feel good in the moment anymore. So guess what? Because all your focus is on the getting it done, you push and force and it gets harder to do. If you consider the lion option, you're now not just running away from the lion, you're crawling away through treacle with a backpack of rocks on your back and no trousers on. And in that moment where you're so focused on the productivity, the getting it done, that's the only time I feel good. It seems insane to take a break, to stop, to ease off, to give yourself a chance to return to balance. But if you did, if you gave yourself that opportunity to hit the reset button, to find the best way to work, you would find an increase in productivity. You would find that that productivity actually feels good. So you then get even more productive. So when I talk about productivity, many of you will be jumping straight to kind of a to-do list of work, of jobs that you've got to get done. So let me just zoom you back in again to that cellular level. Remember, productivity exists there. Balance exists or doesn't exist at a cellular level. So a cell that is getting it done will be potentially building up toxins that it will get rid of later. It might not be taking on nutrients that it needs because, well, I'll do that when I've got more time. It might not be creating the energy in the moment that it needs and creating kind of like a backlog or a depletion. It might not be duplicating itself. It might not be dying off as it needs to and letting someone else come in who's more capable now to do the job. It's creating this deficit. And that is a cell that's striving. That is a cell that's out of balance. And if you have a body full of cells that are out of balance, you have a body that is enduring. And that can never be a body that's healthy. And that can never be a body that's supporting the life that you want to live. Trust me when I tell you that this body is communicating to you. Is this you? Are you listening? And I know you might go straight to, oh God, you're making it sound worse than it is. It's not so bad. It's just a little bit of a niggly back. This is where I tell you that if there is anything that exists in your life that is stopping you from enjoying the moment, that's taking a shine off that moment, that's making it harder for you to do anything, that's dragging or pulling you away from any experience of really bathing in the joy, in the peace, in the love of that moment, then it's not good enough. And you deserve more from your life. And I'm here to tell you that more is possible. Imagine if those challenges didn't exist. Imagine if you weren't living in a body that was depleting its resources and juggling all these balls. Imagine if you were living in a body that had resources to spare. They're no longer focused on the challenges anymore. What would you do with those resources? And that, in that choice, in that moment of what do I do? That is living, my friend. And the thing that I want you to recognize is that you are too important and too needed to simply be getting the job done. because we're all here to live. And if you're living your life, living feels good. And if you're feeling good, then you're going to have more resources to live a life that you love. And I promise you, if you're living a life that you love, what you're bringing to yourself in those moments, what you're bringing to those around you that you care about, what you're bringing to the other people that sharing this world with you cannot be equaled, because nobody can bring what you bring. That's how unique and special you are. But that is especially true, that nobody can bring what you bring when you are loving your life. So what do you need to do now? We come right the way back to the beginning. You need to welcome the change that your body is telling you that it wants. You need to choose in this moment to do something differently at a cellular level, even if you are getting it done, even if you are achieving. In this moment, you're going to make a choice to do what feels better, and then choose what feels better and what feels better again until you get to what feels good. Because remember, when you are feeling good, your cells are working exactly as they're designed to work. And if all of your cells are doing that, then this is going to be the greatest good for your body. Let me just jump a little bit and say to you that when I talk about what feels good, I don't mean some floaty, happy, mythical, woo-woo place. I mean a tangible place where your cells have the resources that they need to work as they're designed to work, and so that your body works as you need it to. A healthy body is a body that carries you along a path of a life that you want to live, doing the things that you want to do. Because I'm going to say it again, you're too important. You didn't come here just to get shit done, just to get some badge that says, I experienced living. You came here to feel good, to love living your life. And again, when I talk about a moment of what feels good, I don't necessarily mean in that moment, take a breath. I don't necessarily mean reach for an essential oil or meditate or run a hot bath. I'm an advocate for all of those things, FYI. But none of those things will make a difference if you don't do one thing. And that one thing is to make the choice in this moment to return to what feels good right now. And in that moment, have an understanding that when you're making the choice to return to what feels good, you are welcoming the change that is wanted at a cellular level throughout your body. And all you need to do is let what feels good be your guide. You might be thinking, how the hell do I return to balance at a cellular level? Your body will tell you what feels good. And trust me, this might take a hell of a lot of practice. You might need to break some habitual patterns that have been there for years of your life. You might need to release some stored low vibration that is actually preventing your cells from returning to their balanced place. But how will you know? Still remains the same. Feels good will always exist in that moment. And if you are always aligning to what feels good, you will be aligning to a body that helps you to live the life that you most want to live. And don't forget, I can help you. Subscribe to this channel and you will see video after video where you can taste the change that you most want. At some point, you might choose to maybe commit to my monthly membership called Change Welcomed, because in that moment when you commit to the membership, you aren't just welcoming the change, you aren't considering welcoming the change, you're going, yeah, I've welcomed the change, this is what I'm doing. And what will that membership do? It will help you to welcome the change in each moment of your life, because life is about wanting a change. Life is about wanting something and then creating it. That's what living is. And so that means that there's always change that you're going to want to welcome. But I can help you to welcome change in a way that only ever feels good throughout all of your life. Because after all, that is how you are going to love living your life. And that is why you came here, my friend, to love living your life.